Let's get into the NAZIYAH Harris case. Now, I am a Detroit native, so this case hits a little home for me because as I'm hearing the evidence and the testimony come out, just hearing the familiar street names and realizing like how close this is to the childhood homes I grew up in, it kind of hit a nerve because it could be, anybody that I know. But regardless of where it's at, the story is horrific and disappointing to say the least. But let's get into the legalities of it and some of the facts. Now, this is a full-blown circumstantial case, meaning that this is not any full physical evidence. It's circumstantial evidence, meaning that they're using other details or testimony or other evidence to link things together and infer what most likely happened without having physical evidence like a body or a murder weapon. And so Jarvis Butts, the man who SA'd and impregnated a 13-year-old girl, is being charged with obviously child sexual assault, but also murder. But the kick is NAZIYAH Harris' body has never been found, nor any murder weapon. However, there are things like her clothes, what she was last seen in, being found with bodily fluids and blood on, and so they're able to infer that she may have been unalived or no longer living due to just the amount of fluids or the type of fluids or the amount of blood, which hearing all the testimony from the sisters, the aunts and grandmothers, the partner, everybody and their mama, literally, one thing I will say is that and from the officers as well, because I think they are the key part to being able to net the circumstantial evidence together, the experts actually. I will say that without finding that girl's body, the murder charge may be a stretch, unfortunately, because I mean the text messages and all of that is so damning. So I feel like in the court of the public eye, the man is guilty of whatever the hell they said he did because he's just completely out of line. But if the jury was actually to follow the law, I don't think that they would be able to find that man guilty of murder, but sexual assault, absolutely. And I think that's why they're pressing him to tell them where the body is, but he will not, or confirm, nor will he confirm that, he disposed of the body or killed the young lady or unalived the young lady. And so it's really sad. And I know that they found a body in North Detroit recently, like as of this morning or as of last night. And although I'm praying for her to be alive, I think it's unlikely. So if they did find a body and she's no longer alive, I hope that it is her body that they found. So, they can get some forensic evidence and connect the murder to him directly with physical evidence and direct evidence and not just circumstantial evidence. I think the fact that, she was last seen by the shot by the sister, the partner can confirm that they, picked her up that day. Her outfit was found somewhere where she last had on. The fact that he knew she was pregnant, all these facts would definitely be motive and facts that lean towards the fact that he probably did unalive her. But they need to find her body to prove that she was unalive. I feel like that's the biggest factor, rather the forensic evidence on her body that they found directly ties him. I think all the other circumstantial evidence will be great. They just need to prove that she's unalive. I feel like that is their biggest obstacle, although with this just being such a public case, once it goes to trial, because it's not a trial yet, this is all preliminary. Once it goes to trial, I don't care who they put on that jury, they're probably going to convict him. But if they follow the law, I feel like without that body, it's hard to get him for murder. But at the end of the day, that man is going to jail. He's going to jail for a lengthy time. He has done tons of sexual acts in this case, along with the fact that he's already a convicted pedophile. He's going to do some time, and when he get into that jail, they're going to tear him up, I'm sure. But outside of him going to jail, which is going to happen, the murder charge is up in the air. I guess I would have to wait to see what evidence comes out in trial, because like I said, this is just a preliminary to make sure they can get to trial, and I think they have to go through this extent to get to trial because that murder body does not exist, and so they're trying to prove that they can try this case with circumstantial evidence, which I believe the judge found that they could. But once it gets to trial, we'll see what other evidence they can pull out their hat. Now, one other thing that I do want to touch on is the fact that we all know that the auntie, the mom, the workers at the shop, all of them are out of line. Everybody knew exactly what was going on with this. And so outside of Jarvis Buzz going to jail for the rest of his life or being charged or whatever his funky fate holds for him, I do not understand for the life of me why the prosecutors are not holding anybody else accountable. And I don't know if it's strategic, trying to hold out until the trial comes or after the trials, which is tricky because it's self-incrimination. But I don't understand, even if they're not in charge with the involvement of her murder or charged directly for facilitating sexual assault, they should definitely be charged with perjury after this hearing, because they lied multiple times. Grandma saying he was never in the house when the aunt came after and said that he was. The aunt said she never knew what was going on. It was nothing but niece and uncle relationship when there's text messages showing she knew what was going on between them. Knowingly let a pedophile come in your house and be around kids, his own kids, and kids that was not him, sending them little girls up to the shop knowing that he's a known pedophile. All of that is neglect. All of that is neglect. Not looking for her immediately and taking your time knowing she was missing. Weird, wrong, and neglectful. So I feel like they should be charged with child endangerment, neglect, and perjury. And I feel like if they find that girl body, the story would develop more and something might come out about them actually being involved. The baby mamas, the aunt, the grandma, everybody but that sister of his is flat out of line and knew what was going on. They did not stop it. They encouraged it. They facilitated it, something of the sort, and they need to be in jail right with his ass. Now, like I said, I don't know why the prosecution is not going after them. It could be strategic. It could be a self-incrimination type of thing. It could be an immunity thing. I don't know, but I can't wait for this trial to start and wrap up, because I feel like that little girl needs justice. And I hope the people of Detroit do what they're supposed to do with everybody that's involved, whether they see jail time or not.